First and foremost, though, let's go over the latest in sports betting, which includes those of you who live in Missouri. Buckle up. You can now bet legally on sports. Online sports betting goes live in Missouri officially today, and the first bets are being placed. So if you live in St. Louis, Kansas City, or anywhere else, for those of you who are not informed, let me inform you. You can now currently bet on sports. Also, big news in college football yesterday, maybe even bigger in the college football playoff. Folks, this was the story of the weekend in football in general. Lane Kiffin heads to LSU. That's his official destination for the future. This did not come with a lot of rumor, a lot of innuendo. In fact, he wanted to stay apparently and still coach the team in the college football playoff. The athletic director said no. So he's now the head coach at LSU, and their defensive coordinator will take over for the remainder of this season, including the college football playoffs. And naturally, we'll talk more about this coming up a little bit later in the show. Very big story there. All right, in the National Football League, the Denver Broncos win yet another close game. Final score 27-26. It was a wild finish that the Broncos end up taking. They've played more one-score games than any team in the AFC this season. The team in the NFC, by the way, that's played that much has been the Atlanta Falcons. R.J. Harvey had a couple of touchdowns, and again, 27-26 was the final. Bo Nix, solid game, 300 yards passing, an incredible catch, by the way, overshadowed by Washington late in this game. But another one-possession game for the Broncos. How did they keep getting it done? Here's Sean Payton.
Look, obviously, close game, a hard-fought game. Both teams, did a lot of things well. I'm sure both teams, when we look at the film, probably did some things we didn't want to do, but those guys came out and fought hard. So did our guys, and we made a play at the end. That was the difference. So,
coming off the field, it just felt those are games you do love to be a part of. The absolute battle, two teams like going for it, throwing punches back and forth, and that I hate the outcome. But I love the fight. It's been tough as hell, for a while, and I thought our guys played hard as hell. So improvement. I saw where we can get better, and obviously there's plenty of room to continue to do that. But man, it was nice to have some guys back. Terry, I thought, made a bunch of big plays. Zach in the same space. But I thought one that just had like a warrior performance was Marcus. Just kind of willing it on some plays, using his arm, using his legs. It's tough ones to overcome, but. Like I said, I hate the outcome, but I do love the fight, where we're at, and get ready to start with you guys.
Buffalo Bills take care of the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game that they had to have to stay alive in the playoff chase. 26-7 was the final. Total 44.5 in this game as Josh Allen and company uses the ground game to get it done. In fact, it was the most rushing yards ever at Heinz Field by an opponent, over 200 in this game between Cook and Ray Davis. Here's Josh Allen on the success of the running game.
Yeah, I think there were some opportunities for our backs, just making guys miss in space. I don't know the exact stats. I know Ty had a really big one on third down. Jimbo had a couple. But yeah, there's just some space there and just trying to take advantage of it and get the ball out quick. I think with this D-line, that's kind of how you have to be is ball out type throws and find space. I think if we eliminate that first turnover, it's a pretty solid night in the pass game.
Also, the Indianapolis Colts thought they were going to have an easy time with the Houston Texans over the weekend. That was not the case. The Texans defense continues to play like the best in the NFL. They beat Indianapolis 20-16, total of 43.5 in this game as the Houston Texans now capturing a piece of the AFC South. We'll get to the Jaguars in just a minute, but first let's hear from C.J. Stroud, who said going on the road and picking up a win against a division opponent is key.
Yeah, there's always, that little thought in the back of your mind, like division opponent, it's a big win, big time game, good opponent. So, I just think in those moments, that's all week, but it's just your preparation, how you prepare. So, I thought, as a team, we prepared the right way, we practiced the right way. So, I think we went out there, execute at a high level. There's a lot of things we can clean up, but I thought for the most part we moved the ball, pretty well, and punched the ball in, in the end zone, twice there, and then getting good field goals and timely drives, I think was a good thing. So all that goes to the preparation.
Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are in first place in the South. They blow out the Titans by a final of 25-3, taking care of Tennessee like most teams have done this season. Liam Cohen seems to be in playoff mode already, says it's one game at a time.
It's just one week at a time, 1-0, for the rest of the way. We're giving ourselves an opportunity to play meaningful games in November and December, and that's ultimately all you can ask for in this league. And the rest of the way, you've got competitive, meaningful football games, and I think that's just an important, thing for us to go through as a team, in year one, to have the opportunity to do those things and to earn that, I think is important for us to be able to continue to move forward as a team.
Trevor started, I think, 6 and 7 for 2 touchdowns. Just what kind of day was today for him?
Yeah, I thought he played pretty well. He was under some duress. We had some injuries up front, obviously. But I thought early on, especially, that he was accurate, was seeing the field well, made some good throws for us, scrambled a few more times. But I do think that he played well.
Chargers dominate the Las Vegas Raiders, as most teams have been doing lately. They end up covering the spread and winning the game 31-14. Kimani Vidal had a nice game on the ground for the Chargers as the Raiders are headed toward maybe the number 1 overall pick of the draft. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks saw a quarterback they had never seen before in Max Brosmer of the Minnesota Vikings. He played. It did not go particularly well. Seattle shuts out Minnesota 26-0 yesterday as Seattle cruising toward the playoffs. Also, Bryce Young and the Panthers beat the Rams yesterday. Rams were 9.5-point favorites in this one, but 31-28 was the final as Carolina stays alive in the playoff push, and the 49ers take care of the Cleveland Browns on the road. That final was 26-8. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after losing 3 games in a row, finally back on track. They beat the Cardinals. Final score 20-17. They didn't cover this one, and the game went under the total. How about the New York Jets finally picking up another win? Nick Folk, 56-yard field goal, gives them a win over the Atlanta Falcons. And although it was closer than they would have expected, the Dolphins ended up beating the Saints by a final of 21-17. The Florida Gators have a new head coach. His name is John Sumrall. He's the head coach of Tulane, and he'll continue to coach the team as they move forward into the college football playoff. Kentucky dismissed Mark Stoops. He's fired, and Michigan State has targeted Pat Fitzgerald as their new head coach.